2024 gave us some amazing LEGO minifigures like Sauron, Link from Zelda, but let's do something a little bit different today, Daniel Lewa.
We are going to be talking about 10 underrated figures that we think are really, really awesome, but just either no one has talked about or no one has recognized on their best lists of 2024, but are actually still really cool figures.
Starting with our 10th pick, which is Mad Teo from Dreams. Mad Teo is probably the coolest Dreams figure from 2024. Am I wrong, Daniel Lewa? That's just my opinion.
Fantastic figure. Some could argue that the Nightmare Witch is cooler, but I think that's just Mad Teo. I don't know. There's a derpy, lovable quality about him where it is the trope of like, oh, it's the good guy but evil, you know, Killmonger, Black Panther, whatever. You've seen it a million times, but I think actually Mad Teo's design is much cooler than Mateo's design, and the colors work way better, and that puffer jacket piece will just never get old because it looks so squishable.
We have a little bit of an unconventional pick for our 9th pick. Fire Demon from Thor vs. Surtur construction figure. It's a sleeper minifigure, guys. It's like a little grunt. It's a Marvel villain grunt, which I love. I love the aim, the Hydra, the whatevers. But come on, it's actually pretty raw, and it's actually pretty dope. There's even some molten cracked printing on the back of the minifigure head.
And thank goodness you actually get 2 of these in the Surtur set, because these are something that are so army buildable, and it's something that can be used in any setting. You can have this in a medieval setting, in a D&D setting, Lord of the Rings, maybe, I don't know. Like, it's just a very generalizable figure that is also just specifically very cool. Up next, we have the Imperial Petorian Guard. I'd be curious to know if you think that this is actually slept on or not, because it came in a couple sets, the Advent Calendar from this year and the Paz Vizsla Moff Gideon Battle Pack, which amazing set, by the way. I think this figure looks so dope. It's like also a little bit of a derpy, oversized helmet, but it's super unique. I love it when they provide these really unique molds for some of these more semi-obscure characters, especially the helmeted ones, because Star Wars always does a really good job of creating awesome character designs like that.
I don't actually even see how this is oversized. I didn't even know that was a problem with this minifigure. It looks too big or whatever. I think it looks perfect for a minifigure, so maybe that's just me. Next underrated minifigure of 2024 is the zesty Magneto from the Blackbird. This minifigure, when the set was first shown, people were complaining, it's not the classic Magneto, this looks strange, this looks weird, but then you guys don't realize that this is a comic accurate minifigure, and then the show comes out, and he's written so beautifully and amazingly, this character is, and you understand what this suit was, and this kind of represented him trying to become a hero, trying to do the right thing, and then he reverted back to his old suit in the second half of the series. Like, the series elevated this minifigure so much that I think it's actually pretty underrated. Granted, it wasn't a very overpriced set, but I'm glad that the show turned out to be good, so I can feel better about my purchase.
I think the show saved this figure, because otherwise, I don't know, on its own, it's a little bit strange. Magneto's tank top, not a ton of detail, but it really perfectly captures the character from the show. And it just goes to show, with some minifigs or sets, the IP tie-in has a huge impact on just how cool or desirable some of these figures are. But I still think this is a pretty underrated figure. Also, shout out to Brickset for all of these images that we're using.
Next underrated pick is Tasha the Witch Queen. Hoo la la from Dungeons and Dragons CMF. Like, this, something about this figure, Daniel Lewa, it's so expressive. The way it's emoting with both faces, it's just so cool. You don't see it that often with minifigures. I don't know what it is, but the minifigure holistically so well-rounded and beautiful. I don't know what it is about this, but this was my favorite Dungeons and Dragons minifigure somehow.
I mean, I could see why. It's extremely detailed, and like you said, full of personality, from the flowing locks to just her face print. And that's something that's really fun to see on minifigures. The entire D&D lineup was so good. One of the best CMFs of all time, I'll say it. Another really slept-on collectible minifig from this year is the alien Beetle Zoid from the Space CMF. Oh my gosh. This was giving me like Space Police, Galaxy Squad, Mars Mission, all of my favorite LEGO space themes that I grew up with. It's just giving me all of those vibes, but doing it in a whole new way. New, fresh color scheme, extremely zany head mold and wing mold. Like, this figure is just, it's too cool. And it could work in a lot of like space situations or in a city attacking your modulars or whatever. Like,
and one minifigure we don't see talked about all too much is Gothmog from the Barad-dûr Eye of Sauron Lord of the Rings set, because that definitely has the highlights. Like, it has the Sauron minifigure and the Mouth of Sauron minifigure, and even Gollum. Like, has so many cool minifigures. This is up there and it deserves to be talked about with its awesome detail. Like, you could tell this is Gothmog from the movie.
It's an unenviable task that the graphic designers had to try to translate all of that very three-dimensional facial disfiguration that Gothmog has into a two-dimensional print. But I think they did a very good job on capturing that with, like, you know, it feels lumpy and grotesque, just like Gothmog is supposed to. So I think that this is just a phenomenal figure in that regard.
Future Methuselah here with a cold, just realizing we didn't have 10 minifigures, we just had 9. So I'm going to go ahead and insert another pick, which would be Euphasia from Ninjago, the Dragonstone Shrine specifically. A very, very beautiful minifigure. She has this faint gold printing on her belt piece, her little belt buckle, which is reflective and metallic. Very expressive on both sides of her face. I didn't even know this minifigure existed until I just built it. She is the elemental master of wind, I believe, within Ninjago. Sorry, Four Corners E, if I got that wrong. I don't know the show implications, but I was really impressed with this minifigure. And I think it may be a slept-on one.
Second pick would be Wilbur from Dodo Airlines Animal Crossing. And honestly, every single Animal Crossing minifigure that came out this year, all of them are just spectacular 10 out of 10 minifigures. Except for Julian. Just kidding. No wonder he was alone on his birthday. Nobody wanted to hang out with him because he's chugly. This one, for some reason, just completely spoke to me. Like, this is one of the best minifigures of the year, in my opinion. His head mold with the headphones integrated into it. He's a fully fleshed out minifigure, dual molded arms, toe printing, and even has tail printing kind of on the back of his torso. Love Wilbur and loved the whole Animal Crossing theme this year. Shout out Animal Crossing and Lego video game themes. W.
Big W. Too bad he doesn't have the cat ear headphones like Sora from Ninjago. We are not trying to play favorites here. Yes, Methuselah and I have our favorite themes that we enjoy. We love kind of the more fantastical, zany side of Lego, maybe a little less on the ultra serious side. One of the things that does that very well is Monkey Kid. And I think that the 100-eyed demon for Monkey Kid is so underrated. One, he has no new molds to speak of. All of these parts are found elsewhere. But the prints on this are so wacky and creepy and unique that I think it just really deserves some recognition on a list like this. Am I wrong?
No, you're 100% right, as Daniel Lewa always is. He's never wrong. This 100-eyed demon is a work of beauty. I think there were a couple things holding it back as to not getting more recognition. Number one, this is a big fault of the Monkey Kid wave that came out this year. It's not giving him a huge buildable or even a medium-sized buildable creature, centipede of some sorts, to really highlight this character. He's only got a tiny centipede here in the Team Power Truck. Yippee. I get it. In the TV show, the cartoon, he had very minimal screen time, like one episode. It doesn't matter. He's still a significant character in Journey to the West, and he deserves a lot more love. Good thing, his minifigure is absolutely beautiful regardless. Look at this gradient from the pink to the purple with the top of the legs being the middle of the gradient. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's just like unnerving to look at for too long because of all of the eyes when you realize that they're coming out of his thigh and like squeezing out his stomach. Like, it's pretty messed up. And it's interesting also that this year was the release of Black Myth Wukong, the game, and the 100-eyed Taoist is one of the boss fights in there. And so, we get some overlap here. But this is definitely underrated sleeper pick. And no, this was not a list of the top 10 figures of the year, but they are 10 that we think really deserve some attention.
But we would be curious to know what your most slept on minifigure of the year is, or just your favorite minifigure of the year, because everyone's is different. So that would be really cool.
Special shout out to those who are not underrated, our channel members who are
brand new channel member Norman Davis. Thank you so much, bro. Our other channel members, I'm Lidme, Dr. Dan PhD, MC Goat, Richie Rage, Uncle Norman, Uncle Michael, Mary Kay, Oliver J the Ginger Lender, Cesar, Shui, Lee, and Grandma Susan are all go-to channel members. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from the Sakuga Builds team, Daniel Lewa and I. We love making LEGO discussions and videos. What kind of videos do you want to see next year going forward? Any suggestions? Sure, toss them in the comments. We appreciate all of the discussion and support and sharing the love for this hobby. Thank you very much, Daniel Lewa, for a successful quarter 4 and a fun 2024.
That sounds corporate. No, Honestly, this year has been a complete blast to talk about LEGO with you, Methuselah, and with all of our amazing channel viewers. Like, some of the comments and essays we've seen that you guys have written, it's made it really fun to engage and keep the conversation going about all the stuff that we love. So let's keep it up. And what we'll also keep up is putting a slept-on Pokemon in the comments to know that you're a real one if you made it this far. And that would be this week, Mag Cargo.
Wishing Santa is gonna bring you Lego this year.
Bruh.